Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talks a Lot Boys. I'm your host. My name is Tyler, and as always, I'm joined by the boys. We've got Brennan.
What's going on, folks?
And we've got Kyle.
Hello.
We're back at it again. 2 years later, roughly. And we're finally giving the people what they want. We've been getting comments, emails, people coming up to us in the streets on like a weekly basis for the past 2 years being like, when are you going to review another Wiggles album? It needs to happen. We want it so much. Beating down my door, finding my address, coming in and trying to rob my home and being like, hey, you need to review another Wiggles album right now, or I'm taking all of your socks. And so we caved. We're doing it. It's Wiggles 2, baby. We are reviewing another fantastic Wiggles album and ranking every single song, all 26 songs from worst to first. I don't know how long this is going to be, but probably long.
Longer
but
than
this
the
is
album
what everyone
runs.
wanted. And I have to say, it goes without saying, obviously, the Wiggles are one of, if not the most talented, influential bands to ever grace the planet, which is why we reviewed one of their albums in previous years. And if you haven't watched that, I recommend going and checking that out. We reviewed the Yummy Yummy, I think is the album we reviewed.
Yeah.
I believe it is.
And once you finish that, you can come back here, and today we're going to review Here Comes the Big Red Car, another absolute masterpiece of an album. So it's the one everyone wanted us to review, so we're like, you know what, we'll do it. We'll give the people what they want. Let's just talk about this album as a whole, right off the bat, before we dive into the songs. This album, I think, is life-changing to a lot of people. You know, it touches on so many things. The album as a whole is like an exploration of different faiths, different cultures, different experiences. It really just kind of encapsulates the entire human experience into like one long yet short album. Just so many different areas it touches on, swinging wildly from things that are very dark to things that are very lighthearted and everything in between, and somehow managing to tie them all together so that it's a cohesive package. It's really just really impressive. And it just leaves me with goosebumps and tearful eyes every time I listen to it. I would like to hear what you guys have to say about this album, though. Brennan, I'm going to start off with you. Give us the good word about the Wiggles.
I mean, obviously, everyone and their mother knows who the Wiggles are. They are world-renowned, world-famous. The music, of course, is very family-friendly. It does an excellent job of, tackling social issues to, hey, let's just have fun and sing about animals. To talking about people working with, one tool, and that's it.
Impressive.
Yeah, they're very, very diverse, very, as Tyler said, kind of all over the place with what they do, but they kind of bring it all in a very similar package in each song. And I just like that it's, an album that's accessible to everybody. So, yeah. This thing's definitely a tune basket.
And full of a lot of dark undertones for older audiences. Kyle, passing it off to you. What do you think about this record?
The great Theseus is to theater as the Wiggles are to music.
True.
And here it happens again. We have yet another incredible example, another tune basket, like you said, Brennan, of just non-stop hits. Now, I love that last time we came into this, none of us knew how we were gonna approach this, what angle, because there's a lot of angles. As you said, this is a very deep tune basket. It's got like a lot of wicker. So I never know like what angle we're all gonna come from, right? And last time, Tyler really dissected the meaning of every track. I brought a lot of like the musical analysis. So I figured, it worked so well last time, why not do it again? I dabbled a little bit in that, in the the breaking down of social constructs like this album does. But I mainly stuck to my roots of the last album, keeping it going. And we'll see how it goes. But man, it's just so impressive how there is really something for everybody in this album. even if you're a terrible person, there's something for you too. You know, like there's just a lot going on. No matter, you know, they truly touch everyone.
Yeah.
There's a sea of people, of all people, and we can all come together under "Here Comes the Big Red Car" by the Wiggles. And I truly love it. I'm so excited to break it down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, it encapsulates the whole human experience, good and bad. So there's a lot of good and bad in here. And like you said, you know, we come at this from different angles. I did once again do my due diligence and translated all of the songs, really broke down the meaning and the messages that, you know, the younger audiences aren't really going to pick up on. So I am going to be going over that for any younger viewers at home, to kind of understand that, you know, maybe if you are a child, you should probably stop listening because we do say fuck a lot.
We do. I'm just
but we're also going to talk about the plight of the Jews today at some point too. So if you haven't been educated on that,
strap on.
Ask your parents or history teacher about that before we get into it, because it's some dark, awful stuff.
Better pay attention in social studies, because boy, we're studying them social issues today. Let's get deep.
So we're gonna list off all the songs in the order they appear, and then we're gonna start ranking them. So we have it's 26 songs long. I'm gonna get winded, but I'm gonna try to get through these in one go. So we have Big Red Car, Can You, parenthesis, Point Your Fingers and Do the Twist, parenthesis, Wags the Dog, Five Little Joeys, Die Dicky Do Dum, Brown Girl in the Ring, Sorry Again, I'm a Cow, Do the Flap, Puffer Billies, Joni Works with One Hammer, I Want to Wear the Jacket, Hat on My Head, The Four Presents, Georgia's Song, I Am a Dancer, Our Boat is Rockin' on the Sea, Nicky Nacky Knocky Noo, Dorothy's Dance Party, Henry's Dance, Sanctissima, Here We Go Dorothy, and My New Shoes. Now you're probably wondering, but Tyler, that's only 23 songs. That's because there were intros for a few that I lumped in because we don't have the time. But that being said, are there any songs that jump out to you guys as being the worst track on the album? Go.
I'm upset. I'm really upset with one song in particular, and you guys might immediately know what song it is I'm referring to, and it might be a surprise to some, Our Boat is Rocking on the Sea, and it's only because we did this. We've been here.
It was on Yummy Yummy. Why is it here?
Like, listen, like we didn't have fucking like War Pigs by Black Sabbath on like 27 different albums. We didn't. We just needed it on one, and it ripped on that one, and it really transcended time. But now, you know, why are we doing that? It just feels like it's a cash grab almost of sorts, and it feels disrespectful. You know, I'm just upset. So I kind of want to put it at the bottom, if I'm being honest with you.
No, I agree 100%. I'm like, you don't just put a hit single on like multiple albums. That's just fucking weird.
It's bad.
It feels wrong. It cheapens the song, honestly.
It does. Like, I like the song a lot.
It's a fantastic song.
We put it quite high on the last on the last review, I believe.
Yeah, I believe we did.
So it dampers the whole situation for me, and it leaves bad taste in my mouth. And frankly, 23rd.
I'm disappointed, Wiggles. Honestly, I mean, like aside from that. But maybe there's like a deeper undertone for this, you know. Maybe that's part of the human experience they're trying to touch on. Maybe they put that in there, like, we know people are going to get upset that we're adding a song that has already been successful on another album, and maybe they were trying to elicit those feelings from us. Maybe that was the point, you know. Maybe they were trying to get real introspective about it. Maybe they were trying to make a statement about the industry. There has to have been a deeper meaning behind it. We don't have time to delve into it all the way today, but I know how intelligent they are. I know how nuanced all of their choices in songwriting are, so there has to be deeper meaning behind it. But I do think we should put it at the bottom.
I agree. We're too smooth-brained to understand the nuances of that one. And I still respect the Wiggles. I just don't respect this decision personally.
Oh, yeah. I respect the Wiggles more than I respect my parents, but...
As all should.
They raised me better, too. Brennan, what do you think about this song? Are you okay with putting it at the bottom?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is kind of whack that they're going to have a track. The track is a ripper, but, putting it on multiple albums isn't necessarily something I would do. It just kind of cheapens it, 'cause it's like, oh, we've been here before. While, like, kind of a shame because like the rest of the album appears to be, you know, its own thing.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that.
Cool.
Also, I mean, what are we thinking about like the intro songs and their song duos? Like,
that's a good place to start, honestly. I think if we can come up with a pecking order for those three to kind of start with, it's probably a good starting point. Do we just want to do the intro song duos in order and talk about them and then find an order, or is there one of the three that really jumps out as being the worst?
I'm cool with just like hitting them like top to bottom real quick because I think that like they deserve the respect that they, you know, are presented on the album. Okay. We should go through them that way. And I immediately, like, I have a note that I just feel like these three like little track duos deserve to kind of be in their own realm. They feel very like its own thing and its own idea from the rest of the album, and it's very cool. There's a lot of, I think my main note about this entire album and the topic that they hit a lot in this whole album is the way they use contrast in each track and song between song to song. The theming of contrast feels so overwhelming here for me. And these songs specifically, I think, are the most like expressive ways of doing it. You've got like these very like spoken word dialogue moments, and then immediately into like these very introspective, like visceral, like cow noises, cowbells, you know, especially speaking of the first one in particular. And I think they're just like a great, like specifically, if we're just going to dive right into one, I'd like to kick, because I really dissected these personally, just overall. I think that this introduction, like I said, it's like almost like a monologue. It's almost in the style of like a Sophocles in like ancient Greece. Like they turn to the audience, they give exactly, you know, what's going on there, and then they turn back, and then it's very, you know, it's very well put, very well thought out, like a fully distinguished person. Then there's a return to cow, you know.
Yeah,
you're going more primal. You're making cow noises. You hear the cowbell. It's like it's a contrast of like the modern man and animal, you know, and it's a really nice.
It's a real dichotomy between man and beast. It's also cool how they integrated lyrically, you know, within that. Because on the surface you have that playing between the man and beast thing, and then they work that in. They take a religious angle, which I think is wild. You know, that's part, again, they touch on like the whole, you know, life experience, you know, so there's different like cultures and religions and stuff in here, and they have some stuff in here about, you know, eating the green grass and then like giving the white milk is a clear metaphor for like Jesus taking away our grass stains and giving us pure clean milk in return. And that's just beautiful, man. And also like you can tie that back into the cow thing of like, we are men, but we are also like animals, but then we are like also not, because like we have intelligence, and it's like it's just a whole like weird thing. Like, what is existence? What is God? Like, how does it all tie together? It's a real beautiful track, honestly. It gets you thinking.
I have that exact note. It's a truly thought-provoking testimony. And you'll see, I'll mention this with each one, but I put after each duo, thank you for this, in my notes, because it really is so introspective that I mean I just wasn't expecting this. I was expecting all jaunty tunes with great instrumentation, and we have these truly thought-provoking moments. I love it. Yeah. So this first one specifically,
what do you think about I'm a Cow? Let's start with this one.
I think I'd take it a little bit more face value than you guys. I do like the analogy that Kyle brought up with the it's kind of like an old school like ancient Greek play where they pretty much tell you what's going on, like everybody's on the same page, and then like in I'm a Cow they just go ahead and do it. I don't know, it's like I said, I don't think it has like the crazy overtones, but who knows? I mean, that's a testament to how well the Wiggles, like how their message can be interpreted, you know, sometimes cryptically, sometimes not. But
yeah,
I think it's a ripper.
Yeah,
especially they got dudes in the background like mooing and shit.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that shit live.
Same. I'd see
I
like
wanna
see
see-
the whole thing live, honestly.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hat on My Head. So this is the next one that has an intro track. Now this one really stands out to me as someone who has struggled with depression. Because this song is very much about like the use of antidepressants, and how it kind of affects you and how to healthily use them a little bit. It talks about going into the sunshine, when things are fine, and you're like, I'm putting on my metaphorical hat of happiness to go out and face the world. And then sometimes that rain shows up, and when it does, they choose to put on that raincoat, and that is a clear reference to the use of drugs, healthy drugs, to help you to treat your depression, to help you get through the rain. It doesn't take away the rain, but it makes it easier to traverse the rain. You don't get as wet when you have that coat on. And that's just a deep and powerful message, The antidepressants aren't going to fix your life, but they're going to help you get through those storms. And then when the sunshine comes back out, you think you don't need that raincoat anymore, you're welcome to just take it off. Go back to the way you were living before. You're not a slave to them. You're not like tied to them. You're still free to have that choice. And I think that's really powerful stuff. And I think it's really, really brave of them, especially back in the time this album came out where we didn't really talk about that kind of stuff as much. What a powerful message to be given our youths, in a tumultuous time such as this. I think it's even more relevant. That's why this song stands out to me personally.
That's a beautiful take on it. Honestly, I didn't even pick up on that. I in fact, like much like Brennan said, there's so many different ways that you can take each of these, and the way I took it is that the introduction 2 started for me first of all in my listening experience, and I thought myself, we get another, and I was so excited. And then he starts talking about his straw hat that he has, and my first thought, where does he live? How hot is it there on average? He's wearing a straw hat. Why a straw hat? Is he a fan of One Piece? Does he just like stylish hats? It's probably both. Yet again, I put thank you for this, obviously, in my notes. But you then go into this much slower, groovier piece than the previous, where you get like that primal, cow, inspiration, the beast, if you will. You're not like this slower, groovy a track with this lovely bass, the very tappy drums. They really like create the image in your mind of like your heels tapping on the sidewalk as you walk along in the sunny day. I really like that visualization that they have. The story is just really, really beautiful. And then even when you put upon the use of antidepressants upon it as well, it just kind of grows that image to an even more beautiful piece. I love it. It's got another great contrast with the dialogue to like this groovy piece in a different way, even than the previous had done, because it was more primal. I think it's phenomenal work from them. I'd also like to very highly recommend to anyone that is watching this episode, please listen to the music as Tyler talks about them. I just listened to the entirety of Hat on My Head while he was talking about the use of antidepressants. It's a truly life-changing experience. I almost shed a tear. Like that was, it's incredible. But yeah, that's what I thought about it. Brennan, what did you think about Hat on My Head and its introduction?
It's so true. I like that the track, the dude, he's putting a hat on his head and everything's gonna be okay. Once again, like the accessibility, the universal language that the song is kind of portraying, like everybody understands, like, hey, like, it's all gonna be good, man. Just put a hat on your head. I'm not sure they're advocating for antidepressant use, but it's a feel good track. It's like, hey, it's all gonna be good, man.
I really like your takes on the songs, because we have like the introspectiveness of like the adult's point of view. We have Kyle with the musical take, and then we have you with like the direct, like, this is what a child hears when we hear. So we get like the full spectrum of like every single possible angle.
We heard every
Thanks for
layer.
telling me I think like a child. I'm just smooth brain
No.
deflecting
You're
shit.
taking the
of a
song at
child.
face value, and the songs have dual meanings. So that's like, it's good. We're taking it from both sides, you know?
We're getting a true
Just-
review and dissection of this album
exactly.
here. Yeah,
Now-
I love
I
it.
dig it. I dig it.
Now we're moving on to the third one that has an intro, and this one I don't think really has like a super deep meaning. I think it's just a beautiful song. I think they sat down in the booth and they're like, I want to make a grown man cry, and they wrote Georgia's song, and it's a beautiful ballad. It's exquisite. It brings a tear to my eye. It gives me goosebumps. I was so emotionally, just overwhelmed with the sheer musicality of it. The raw emotion they put into the song, I couldn't even glean any deeper meaning from it. It was just a beautiful lullaby. And I think that was the point. I think they're just trying to evoke emotion. And I think they did a great job at that. I would like to hear your take on the instrumentals, though. Kyle, what did you think about this song?
I think it's gorgeous. Like stripping away every fun internet layer here. I was like legitimately shocked when we got to this track. I was like, oh. I got a little chill. I was like, oh, this is delightful. I was just like, I got little chills. I was like, this is so sweet, and I felt you feel like true emotion in the vocals, because that's really what this track does. Because the instrumentation of this track is not anything over the top, and it doesn't need to be, because it really lets the vocals shine here. I think there's so much passion in every word spoken, and yet again, I think this is another piece where like you got great contrast between the intro and the full track to me, because you've got introduction 3, where I first put the note in all caps, no way we get 3. But then I put, it's like a true reflection on the cycle of life, as he's looking down at his child, and he's like reflecting as he goes in the song. He's like reflecting on like these things that you get to experience as a wee babe, you know, like the wind through the tree, like the scents, they come to you. And then by the end of the song, it's him like, you know, it shifts positions to him like looking at the child, and now he's like, now you get to experience this. This is like your journey to go on. I get to watch you get to experience it. And at the same time, it was like a moment for him to reflect back on what it's like to like have the sweet innocence of a child. And it's like, we're playing a lot of this up. It's beautiful. It's actually beautiful. I love it. It's just really pretty and really passionate. And I think it's really sweet. I like it.
Yeah, I agree. Brennan, how was your life changed by this song?
I like that they just sat down, just one dude with an acoustic guitar, and did something beautiful. There's really not much else to it. I think it's just very well composed, very well, you know, it just goes to show that like a song doesn't need a lot of moving pieces to function and to function well. I mean, literally just one guy, acoustic guitar, let's sing, let's play. All right, here's Georgia's song. So I dig it. I think it's a solid, no frills, you know, all killer, no filler track.
Hell yeah. I'm going to propose that we put this one, of these 3, I think this is the top of these 3.
You know, it's really tough because I think each of these does like such an awesome thing in a very different way. But you know, like just like the pure passion and like simplistic approach that this track has, it shows that you don't need all the bells and whistles and the social undertones to get across just a gorgeous message. So I agree. I think it should be at the top.
Yeah.
After that, I think it does get really tough because you've got these tracks that have like these like obvious like layers in it, you know, like these really cool contrasts back and forth. And I honestly, you know what, I came into this thinking I wanted I'm a Cow to be higher, but as we talked about it, and Tyler, you really brought upon the layering of the, you know, the coat and the drugs. I really think that, you know, Hat on My Head not only has gorgeous layering that anyone can take, you know, anything from, but also has these instrumentals that really convey an image in your mind. And I think that's really impressive. And I would like to propose that to be the second in these 3.
That is also where I am headed.
Awesome.
Also because we haven't talked about any of these other songs yet, but there are a lot of songs about drug abuse and like the dark side of drug use. So I think it's really good of them to put in a positive drug use song. Like use them properly, please, and good things will happen. So I think that really just kind of rounds out the album as a whole also.
Yeah, something for everybody.
Yeah. Brendan, do you agree or disagree with the ordering of these three?
No, I can agree because, in my opinion, I'm a cow. I'm not a big fan of the mooing. I think it's a part of the song that like is decent as an accent piece, like in the background, but then when the singer himself starts mooing, it's like, so I am cool with putting Hat on My Head as number 2.
Okay. Different strokes for different folks. I'm going to propose that we put Sanctissima down in here because of the fact that it is very short and it is mostly instrumentals. Very good instrumentals. Very solid guitar. And I think it does a really good job of building, which is one of my favorite things because it builds up. There's just no vocals, and then there's a little humming, and then there's a little kind of other stuff, and it builds, and it's cool. But I don't think it's just instruments, so there's not really any kind of like deeper meaning to pull from it. It's just very well composed. So I think that that should be. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning. I want that to be below the 3 we just talked about, personally.
I'd agree. I think the fact that there isn't like a lot of inward thoughts on every day-to-day life that isn't present here, and that's okay. Like we stated before with the 3 intro tracks, it's okay to be gorgeous and like the beauty of the simplicity. I don't think there's a single bad track on this album. Like even a song that's recycled is still a great song from another album, so it's still great to listen to again. But yeah, no, I think I'd agree. I will say specifically the fact that there's like the building in the track where the duet of the guitars comes in. There's a second guitar that comes in and joins the first as you get these very beautiful heavenly vocals in the background. It is just another great example of building in a track, and it's just so expertly done. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, actually, while we're here, this is a great contrast of that is the next track, Here We Go, Dorothy, where there's very little instrumentation. They go from all instrumentation to almost all vocals. So you've got just like a bass line in the background, some percussive things.
Now, I would like to hold off on talking about Here We Go, Dorothy until much further on.
Okay.
Because Here We Go, Dorothy has... It's really what ties the entire album together. It has a lot of areas that are like callbacks to other songs, and it really ties a lot of these songs together into a cohesive package. And I think we should talk about that later on after we've talked about the majority of the album to get the full effect. And then talking about it now would kind of spoil some stuff.
I like that. I think that's a great point.
Okay.
So I'm okay with that. Going right along in order, what do you guys think of My New Shoes? The very end.
My New Shoes? What do I think of My New Shoes, Kyle? What do I think of My New Shoes? If we were doing tabling right now, I would table My New Shoes immediately without hesitation. I would rocket that shit up to the top.
Okay. All right. Wow. Strong emotions about
Song
44-second My New Shoes.
Fucking ripper, my dude.
Okay. All right. I see I've struck a chord. I apologize.
I will not die on many hills in this episode, but this is the one.
Okay.
I will plant my flag and just whip out all the guns and put my life on the line to defend that hill.
All right. Well, I apologize, for really forcing you onto a hill very quickly. So to give you a second to relax, Brennan, what do you think? Is there any song that you would immediately toss towards the bottom here now that we've gotten a couple out of the way?
I don't know why, but the Four Presents makes me think of Farah Jaka, like very heavily. I don't know. It's all right, but there's like parts of it that kind of feel like a ripoff.
That is bold that you think it makes you think of Frere Jacques when they literally had like a parody of Frere Jacques on the last album that we reviewed.
Yeah, and I thought the same thing there, but this is like, see, like to me this is worse because it's not like a direct ripoff. Like the other one, you could kind of tell like, they're kind of going for that, but then this, it's not like a direct copy, but there's like very very key like melody decisions that I feel were inspired by Farah Jacques.
It's fair. I'm not like super high on this track, so I'm okay with kind of bringing this up in the conversation. I think, to get into
Kyle's Hill.
Kyle did look pretty pissed. Are you opposed to this?
It's not a hill. I was impressed by a lot that they did here. This is another track where I just feel like the building is like super, super strong. You know, you've got like this story that's building as well as instrumentally, like with like these presents being brought from across the sea. Also, there's fucking Latin, dog. Like, that's epic. I fucking love that. Like, the way that this song is, like, they have this like choir that's singing in Latin in the background, and like I personally, like I once performed the piece Carmina Burana in a 60-man choir. This piece took approximately like 2.5 hours to perform. I don't think we ever achieved the tone quality that comes across in this choir of folks that sing in Latin here. It's just really impressive. It's hard to get that kind of sound across the board. I don't want to say that this track brings more to the table than Carmina Burana, but you can connect the dots.
Damn.
I just think
bold
also
take.
they have Vibraslap, so that's fucking rad. Yeah, I don't know. I think this track brings a lot to the table, not only in like flexing expertise, but just the great building in story and instrumentation. It's just like one of the great master classes of storytelling in music, in my opinion.
Okay.
I will not argue this to be
what
high.
would you like to table then, Kyle? If you're not
To
cool
table?
with that, or not
Or to
table.
put
Sorry,
them
what
on?
would you like to bring onto the chopping block? What would you like to anti-table? What would you like to kill?
Man, this is tough. A track that you know, I have a note that's slower for me, and I think perhaps I wanted more, but perhaps I'm too smooth-brained to understand it. Is the track Pufferbillies? And there is definitely speaking of like ripoff territory, Brennan. You know, this definitely does give me vibes of other, you know, songs. But what this track doesn't do for me is enough. The track, you've got some really cool tempo changes in here, and that's where I think the song does shine. You got like the increase of tempo as you go, and the great use of onomatopoeia, which is not present in a lot of the other the rest of the album.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's something that I just want more of in you know, instrumentation. I want more like time wise. It's like, I think it possibly is the shortest song. Oh no, it's not, because the introductions exist.
Yeah.
But it's one of the shortest tracks on the album, and on an album, a very short track.
See, I'm
So-
torn on where to place this one, because on one hand, I kind of agree. It's not a song I'm going to come back to a lot, right?
Exactly.
But also, the song is talking about the plight of the Jewish people during the Holocaust, and that like ranking it so low just feels like a disservice to like them, and like that, you know, I feel disrespectful doing that, you know.
Tell me more.
Tell you more about the
more.
Holocaust.
Yeah, tell me more about the Holocaust. I'm
It was
not
very
bright.
bad.
Boy, this
It was
Well, tell me more
very
about
dark
one of the worst
Pufferbillies and the way
atrocities
that
that's
they
ever
talk about
happened in
the
human
Holocaust.
history. I think
'Cause
it's
I'm
really
not-
bold that they even wrote a song about it. But kudos to them for being like, we're going to talk about the things that are painful in human history, not just
Yes.
the things that are you know, because it's wild, right? The album literally starts with a song about sex, 2 songs about sex right in a row,
Yeah.
and then you get down a little bit, and we're talking about drug abuse, we're talking about the fucking Holocaust. Like, they go to the darkest depths of humanity. Like, they go to our darkest points, and they touch on all of that as well. Because I think the song, like, it's about trains. It's clearly about like when they were taking, you know, taking them to the concentration camps, and it was this terrible time. And I think that they wrote the song so that we would just never forget the horrors of this atrocity, and that we would not ever repeat something like this ever again. And it just kind of once again draws attention to another part of humanity's story, not one that humanity is necessarily proud of, but it is something that happened. So they are addressing it. I respect them a lot for not shying away from topics like this in an album, but I will say musically, it is not one that I'm going to come back to a lot.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I like that take, and the moment you said, you know, Holocaust, I was like, I get it. I see exactly the side of this. I see, you know,
Yeah.
the hurrying of them on the trains to get them going to the camp. I get it. And listen, I understand the conflict, because in all reality, so many tracks on this album have such true like conflict. Like, do I respect the message they're bringing to the table? You know, do I respect the music? Which one do I hold higher in regard as far as ranking? Unfortunately, almost every track on this album from here on out has that layering. So it's hard, you know, like if there is one of those things that's lacking at all at this point, we've got to, you know, use that as like, you know, like the telling of the times, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's why I would personally.
I just want to cover my bases because I don't want to get canceled for putting Puffer Billy's low, because I know people
absolutely.
are going to come out fucking breathing heavy, typing on their keyboards all fast, being like, calling me like crazy things, and I'm just going to be like, I understand the message, and our placement of this song is not a commentary on human history, okay? It's not a
100%.
commentary on the events that took place, what the song is about, or simply saying that, like, I just think there's better tracks on the album. And that is a subjective take.
And, you know, that's kind of another conversation about why it's so great that we each have different takes on these albums, like the musical, the deep dive, the child. There's just a really great, you know, like dichotomy of opinions here that we can really dive into. So that way, if one of us brings the knock to the table, we can all kind of, you know, talk about this objectively, you know.
Yeah.
So I think this should be next, though.
Okay. Brendan has not had a chance to talk about the Holocaust song yet. So Brendan, what do you feel?
I think you could push the metaphor even further by bringing "I'm a Cow" into the mix, because a lot of those folks that, you know, got taken away were herded into the cars like cattle.
I think you're overthinking it, because I don't
cattle
think
cars.
Maybe there's like a tertiary angle of the cow song that I wasn't really factoring in before.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe it's like, you know, maybe the Wiggles are trying to show you how easy it is to like get you to submit to like being like, you know, the Untermenschen, as the Germans called it, meaning subhumans. But you know, like, hey, we're gonna herd you into these cattle cars and, you know, send you off to your final destination. The Wiggles are kind of dark. It was really what they're going for, but
that's the beauty of it, though. They don't shy away from anything. Nothing scares the Wiggles.
Away from controversy.
This is what we need. This is what we need in modern media. Is this? Make more of this, Wiggles. Keep it coming.
I would also like to point out, if you can't cancel the Wiggles, you can't cancel us for talking about what they write about. I'm just saying.
This is
don't
a
even
safe space.
try.
I hope somebody takes this episode, gives it to the Wiggles, and just like shows them, hey, like, this is what these guys are taking away from your music.
If
this is what everyone should be taking away from it. This is what they wrote. We are just reading what they have wrote. We're reading it back to the world in a different perspective.
We've unlocked our third eye and are reading between the lines.
If the Wiggles acknowledge this content, I can die so happy.
If the Wiggles acknowledge this content, I will shave my head.
That's awesome.
Eyebrows included.
Guys, I was gonna
not eyebrows included. I'm not going to look like I have alopecia or whatever.
All right. Well, so Brent, are you cool with putting this song next?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I think if the song carries those kinds of overtones, I think we should do what we can to kind of put it lower as to not incite any more like future Nuremberg rallies or anything like that.
I agree.
That and plus, like, musically, the song's really short. Yeah, there's a tempo change, but it's kind of weak musically. And I think if we were to go back and destroy everything, you know, symbolizing an evil people, it's probably for the best. So yeah, put this. You're probably right.
Okay. Here's one that I think is probably coming up. Just kind of looking through. I don't know if this is necessarily next. But it's just one that kind of popped out because I think that this one, the message isn't super deep. I just think it's kind of like useful. I Am a Dancer. Because I don't know if you know this song was actually written as like a code for people to say I am in danger. It's like an allegory for like how sometimes you need help, but you can't like come out and say it. So they wrote this song as a way of like, if you're in a public place, like a bar, and you're uncomfortable, you put this on the jukebox, and then the cops will show up and help you. Like someone will hear the call, and they'll get you out of there.
It's
So like it's cool that
ordering
this
a
song exists. But I think like it serves its purpose very specifically. It's not something I'm necessarily gonna like fucking jam out to in the car, right? I can't like blast this with my windows down, or people are gonna get the wrong idea. People are gonna think like, oh, there's something must be wrong in that man's car. We need to like break his windows and like get him out of there. Like I don't need any of that.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to have a good time.
It's like ordering an angel shot at the bar.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, yeah, it's the same type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the non-alcoholics answer to that.
Just play "I'm a Dancer" by the Wiggles.
Yes.
See, personally, I think this track is a very unique musical piece on this album. That's something I'm going to say about a lot of these tracks, but I think this one's really cool because it's "I'm a Dancer," and a lot of the tracks from here on out do talk a lot about dancing. There's a lot of dancing going on. There's Dorothy's dance party. There's Henry's dance. Here we go. Dorothy's getting the vibe up. And I am a dancer. Fucking our boat's rocking on the sea. Why's it rocking? Because you're fucking dancing. But I'm a Dancer is cool because it creates the mental image of a music box. It starts with like this repetitive kind of swaying theme that goes. You then get this very music box esque instrumental with like the very like high pitched like ding 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 ding. It's very nice. It's very pretty. Then you even get like the little toot toots of the flute coming in as well. I love that. It's a really beautiful like building in the track to the end. And I think it's a very simple yet thoughtful way to create this like nice little image in your mind. And it's nice. So I appreciate it. And actually, I think a song that I compared it to in my notes is actually, I believe it's called Five Little Joeys.
Oh,
Five Little Joeys. Because Five Little Joeys is also very repetitive, but for a different reason. See, I think that I Am a Dancer brings this repetitive nature to it, but it's because, you set the music box going, and it's going to just replay the same thing until it runs out of wines, as it almost feels like it does in the track. It's very cool. It's used in a way that I think is smart. Five Little Joeys uses its repetitive nature to, tell the story of, the five, then, as you go in numbers,
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to it, you understand. Yeah. And I think that the instrumentation is a little bit more fun to listen to in Five Little Joeys. However, the repetitive nature of that track, I think, is not used as well as it is in I Am a Dancer. That on top of the fact that I think I Am the Dancer is just like historically a great piece to, protect and, be there for people. I think is also a great, thing to bring into the mix when you discuss the two. Tyler, I am interested to see what you pulled in your research for Five Little Joeys.
Five Little Joeys. Yeah, so Five Little Joeys is the song is very important. Not in a way that like it's going to save lives, but it's drawing attention to something that's like really fucked up and something that needs to be changed. Something especially here in America, specifically. It must be happening in Australia too if they wrote this.
Naturally.
The song is very clearly about how big pharma is the causality of so much like unnecessary death and strife in our country. Like the song, right? Medication prices have become so inflated that a lot of people just can't afford the life-saving medications they need. So like the Joeys falling off the bed and bonking their heads is like referencing the consumers, the citizens of the country, right? Falling ill to these things that they have no control over, and they go out to the doctor and they're met with a simple just don't die, too bad, if you're poor, just don't be and then people are just left to die. It's sickening, honestly. It's fucking terrible, and the Wiggles are brave enough to make a song directly attacking this issue and be like, fuck you, big pharma, we're the Wiggles and we don't respect you. And that's great. And you go, Wiggles, for thinking that and making a statement on the large platform you have to really tell it to the masses. So that's what I gathered from Five Little Joeys. I don't know how I would compare it to like I Am a Dancer. I don't know, Brendan, if you want to like weigh in like on these two songs, how you think that they stack up.
I mean, in Five Little Joeys, the doctor, like the final verse, the doctor is the one that is jumping on the bed and hurting his head. So the doctor also partakes in, misuse of prescription drugs.
Comes for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a disease, you know. And it usually starts with the script or someone breaking into a medicine cabinet. Between these two, I'd probably put Five Little Joeys above I Am a Dancer. Because like Five Little Joeys to me tells like more of a story. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's these little kids that like, you know, they keep jumping on the bed. One of them always gets hurt, and the doctor's like, "Hey, like you might want to cut this shit out, or you're gonna keep getting hurt." And then next, you know, the doctor ends up partaking and getting hurt himself. While I'm a Dancer just kind of repeats itself until it like runs out of steam. So I'd probably go Five Little Joeys above I'm a Dancer.
Yeah.
I respect it.
I'm the same way.
Or,
And
you know-
you brought up a very important thing that I missed. That I forgot to take note of. That the doctor eventually falls off the bed too, just because he's the one dishing out the prescriptions doesn't mean he gets a discount. And eventually he's gonna have to get hospitalized too for something that's not in his control, and he's gonna die too because he's part of the problem. And he'll you know he set himself up for fucking failure. They're not above us. But I agree. I want Five Little Joeys to be above I Am a Dancer. I would like to lock those in.
I respect that, you know. I
Sure.
like the dissection of the piece. I respect it. I'm glad I got to you know bring the contrast between the two because I think it's an interesting one. But you know, unfortunately, I'm here to really focus on the music, and something I didn't mention. Five Little Joeys has a fade out, so I'm personally going to vote for I Am a Dancer.
That's fair.
But
I'm not going to change
you know,
my vote, but yeah.
No, exactly. I respect that I'm outvoted. I just
I
put
think
it
the
out there.
fade
I'm
out might have
voting
been
for I Am a
like
Dancer.
a metaphor though, because like when you die.
Yeah. Everything
Yeah.
just
Of
fades.
something of like natural causes like that, like it's usually more of a fade out.
Yeah.
It's not like an abrupt end. Like you don't just get hit by a bus and you're done. It's like you have to fucking suffer and wait.
Yeah, no, that is fair. I can see that. I honestly was kind of thinking that the fade out would have worked better in I Am a Dancer because, you know, like the music box is ending and it like, you know, kind of winds down. It'll fade. They could have done something there to kind of further that imagery. But it was used here, and I guess I could see what you're saying. So, but you know, it is what it is. We move on.
Yeah. If no one else has anything to throw out, I think that I have two that I would like to bring up. I think they're very fun songs. I think we've already established all these songs are great, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're already kind of into the midpoint now. I think I don't think we're necessarily in the low point anymore. I may catch some flack for this because this is a ripper of a track. But if we're just talking about these, like, which songs, from my perspective, like when I'm looking at these, and I took the very like lyrical angle, right? The two songs that stand out to me of being the least deep of all the ones left would have to be the opening two tracks, Big Red Car and Can You, Point Fingers and Do Twist, because they're great, they're fun, but they are just about sex, and like there is not really much else to that. Like Big Red Car, it's just they want to ride the whole day long. We get it. Who doesn't? And they're doing it in multiple locations. Seatbelt's a metaphor for using protection. Like, it's all there. It's great. It's a fucking ripper. Everyone loves it. But that's, like, as deep as it gets. And then, Can You Point Your Fingers and Do the Twist? That's just about fingering a girl. And, you know, verse 2, they get kind of crazy with it. And, like, if you fuck along to the song, it gets kind of dangerous. So, like, I also give it knocks for that. But, again, two fantastic songs.
No, go on. Sorry, go on.
No, that was it. I just think
Yeah.
that like I enjoy. I have these on my Get Busy playlist, both of them, and like they're the perfect length too.
Now we can all agree on it.
But I don't know. I think that they're great, but I think that when we have some of these other songs that are also rippers, but they have like deeper meaning, right? Like we're talking like Wags the Dog, right? Like stuff like that. We're talking fucking My New Shoes, right?
Do the
We have
Flap.
all these other songs that are just they kind of touch on like deeper things than that, you know? And they're also bangers. It's just, I don't know. I feel like we might be here. If there's anything else you guys have that you think should go below those, I'm all ears, but that's what is jumping out to me right now.
I apologize for standing in the middle of your dissection of these two songs. I got nervous. I started getting stressed. I felt the sweat enter my pits in my eyes. and I got nervous. I had to walk it off a little bit there because I think a lot of people are gonna, that's a hot take you just threw out there.
Oh, it is absolutely. It's a hot take.
I'm
aware.
I'm probably gonna have to change my phone number, just so I don't get a lot of hate voicemails.
I mean, you can stop it from getting placed this low.
I could, but the crazy thing is, Tyler, I kind of agree. Yeah, I know, and it's gonna be hard for you all to hear, and I'm really sorry. I think the hate in the comments is about we're gonna lose subscribers. We could be we were talking
do
about
anyway.
we're talking about like erasing history with the Holocaust. This could be worse. Us ranking Big Red Car this low. I think this was a fan favorite. If I'm being honest with you, as it should be.
It's the reason people want us to review this album.
Exactly.
It's the name of the album is named after the Big Red Car.
Fun fact: I told my friend that we were reviewing this album, one of my friends, and he legitimately was like, "Dude!" And he started singing "Big Red Car." The man is 22, and he sang it word for word, like to me, out of such excitement that we were reviewing this album. And
That's crazy.
He's gonna be upset. This song has impact.
You think that guy was like a little young for like the Wiggles? Like, you'd think that the Wiggles would kind of have passed him when he was a child.
Yeah, but this album came out in 2006.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
pretty close. I mean, I'm
Yeah, he would have been like 5 years old when this came out.
yeah.
Because I thought the song originally came out in like the 90s. Because
No,
I think it was
fact
just
check.
like added to Spotify in 2006. Like when I was doing my research, obviously like I
Yeah.
know a lot about the Wiggles, but like when I was doing my research and I was looking up the songs, a lot of them were coming up as like music video 1996, 1998, stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, they were still like the Wiggle show was still on like TV for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, they played all
fair.
this shit.
It's valid.
Yeah.
But
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they took the album release approach in these years, whereas like before they were like purely performative, a lot performative, and then they started like compiling them into albums and maybe even like remixing and remastering.
That makes a lot of sense.
But talking about the tracks though, I would like to at least push for Big Red Car to be over Can You?
I agree. I agree, 100%.
PYFADTT.
how are you guys putting this under like Joni works with one hammer? Like
This is based pu-
have the other songs that are like lower on the album.
Like I said, my logic is based purely on the fact that these songs are not as lyrically deep and like thought-provoking. That's the only reason I was throwing them out. You are welcome to argue whatever songs you would like to be under these.
Oh, I feel offended.
That was just my thought process.
I feel offended you just threw Joni under the bus.
That is disrespectful to Joni. That was a song about a girl who died from drug overdoses. So like, you might want to check yourself there.
So
Exactly. But also, listen, we'll get to that. But I took it as face value with my smooth brain. Dog, one hand? She did it with one fucking hand? And then by the end, she's doing it with like 5 fucking... What? Where are the arms coming from? I was baffled. I was in awe at the spectacle that was happening. Purely in a
I was in awe that she didn't die
media.
on the 5th heroin needle. Took her 6.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it all I walked away from the track fucking dumbfounded at the nature of multiple hands. All right? And also
that's
the
what gave it
lack
away for me.
thereof.
That's what gave it away for me. I'm like, this bitch ain't Goro.
That makes sense.
This is about heroin.
She's not Goro. Joni is not Goro. Let that be what gets taken away from us. That Joni is
You get
not
nothing
Goro.
else out of this video.
Just
Joni was
understand
not
that
Goro.
But it all makes
She
sense,
was a victim
Tyler.
of society.
Fuck, that song can't be next. That's incredible. I am dumbfounded at this realization. That's incredible. Wow.
Are there any
I
other
think,
songs that
but-
you'd like to throw under the bus, Brennan? Now is your chance to fight to keep the people's songs living, because we're about to kill them.
I mean, not really. I mean, like I said, Joni works with one hammer, super short. Big Red Car has way more going on in it. Same thing with Can You. I mean, regardless of the innuendo.
You know what? I will throw you a bone, and I'll throw the people a bone, and say that if you want to vote for Joni overdosing on heroin to be underneath these two tracks, I will give you a second vote.
Oh, yeah, I'd take it. This is because what's worse, somebody, succumbing to drug addiction, or two people getting it on. Like, I'm not
Is
trying
it
to
premarital or postmarital?
Doesn't matter. And it's just sex. It's applicable in whatever scenario.
Yeah, but I think
all consensual though. It's always consensual.
The gravity is a little
like
different.
Something we should celebrate. I mean, obviously, yes, we should bring awareness to drug issues across America, but I don't think two songs that are about doing the thing. And
I just think that like most songs are about doing the nasty, so it kind of takes away from it. I think that like base level writing a song is typically about
the songs themselves
fucking.
are just objectively better. Like they
but
actually
I can't
have
agree
like a
with
lot more
that,
going
which is
on.
why I'm siding with you. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then fuck. Put Joni way underneath these two.
I don't let it be known. I don't stand with this. I'm sitting here just fucking dumbfounded by this realization that has just occurred. I feel like I've grown as a person, and these two are returning to cow. So I don't really appreciate the disrespect.
Once we lock these three in, we have reached the top 12.
That is impressive.
Oh my
we're
God.
halfway done, folks. We're halfway done.
And we're almost double the length of the album in recording.
Now, is it too early for tabling? Is it too early for tabling?
No. Wait. Did we what order did we put these tracks in?
Yeah, we have not done a recap yet.
Bottom is, let me check the amount of songs because I forgot. 23. Okay, so 23 is Our Boat is Rocking on the Sea. 22 is Sanctissima. 21 is I'm a Cow. 20 is Hat on My Head. 19 is Georgia's Song. 18 is Puffer Billy. 17 is I Am a Dancer. 16 is Five Little Joeys. 15 is Joni Works with One Hammer. 14 is Can You. And 13 is Big Red Car.
Got you. Can I just make one quick argument? One little musical thing I'd love to bring up real fast.
Sure.
In Big Red Car, there's a fade out gross. Even though like the way they sing car is beautiful at the end. Like the car. That thing. I won't try to reenact. I don't deserve it. But in the Can't You Point Your Finger and Do the Twist, something that I noticed that I think is just really fucking awesome is it starts with a great strong call to action. It's like, come on, everybody. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, let's do it. And then if they beat the hecklers to the punch here. Right? They just start having their own band members start being like, oh, come on. Why would we do the twist in the middle of it? It's genius. They implant their own people to start heckling them. And just this little back and forth thing that goes on during the song. They're like, come on, everybody. Like, like kind of like taunting them to beat the hecklers to the punch. I think that's just a genius maneuver to outsmart smooth brain individuals that just think this is about dancing and not sex. And I really respect that. I don't know how you guys feel about
I still think it would be like sacrilegious to put it above Big Red Car. We're already like pissing people off putting Big Red Car that low. I don't want to like actually get murdered.
Fair. You're right. Move. So
I think what we can do, we do 2 rounds of tabling. That splits this 12 in half.
Okay.
I would like to go first.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we'll start with the obvious one. There is an obvious table here.
Yeah.
And that is Brown Girl in the Rain.
Yes.
Yeah. Song about black female empowerment.
Absolutely.
We are white men and we are ashamed of it. That obviously defaults to the top.
Absolutely.
Respect where it's due. Now, my personal favorite song on the album, that's gotta be My New Shoes. My New Shoes fucks. Okay. Album ender of the millennia.
Okay.
I'm tabling that.
Okay.
It is, and I've done my 2 tables apparently.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of did.
I fell on the grenade. I tabled the one that we had to,
I appreciate you.
and I
You're
tabled
brave.
the one that I liked. So now we are on to Brennan. Give us a table.
I think Die Diggy Doo Dum has a sick guitar lick to open it up.
Fair.
Fuck yeah, it does.
And there is an argument of it being repetitive, but I do like how the vocals kind of act as like another instrument, like in the track.
Yeah.
I like that.
After the guitar lick, like everything just like comes alive. Like you hear like, you know, bass, you hear like accordion, giving it like a middle Europa kind of feel. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a badass track.
I think the translation that one's really fun too, but we'll hold off on that one for now. Okay. Well, I guess since I tabled both of mine at the same time, Brandon, I'll let you table both of yours at the same time. So what is your second table?
I don't know. Come back to me. Go to Kyle.
That's fair.
I'm really up in the air about it.
It's tough. Okay, so my two tables, I know immediately, especially because you tabled Daidiki Dodum, because that was like kind of in the mix for me, and I appreciate you tabling it. You saved me some stress. Immediately, do the flap. I'm doing the flap all day and night. I'm tabling that shit to the morning.
Okay.
So that's immediately table for me. And then after that, I'm gonna have to go with. I got two. I'm kind of leaning back and forth on.
Is one of them Wags the dog?
It is.
Then you should go with that one.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Wags the dog.
Yeah.
Let's do Wags the dog, baby. Come on, you gotta love Wags. All right, yeah, those are my two tables. All right, Brennan, leaves your final one to you.
Oh boy.
Still a lot of good stuff.
Here we go. Dorothy is a good answer. You could go with that.
Henry's dance is also a really good option. Henry's dance is also
the message is great. It's like the evaporate of the Wiggles.
It is. You're not wrong, but also Henry's dance beat slaps. Just fall into the music. And this has been our ASMR segment. Thank you for coming.
I really don't know. I think all of these other tracks are kind of weak. So.
Whoa. That's
okay. Well, we have
bold statement.
We have 5 tabled. That's probably enough to start with.
Yeah.
Here. Okay, which one of these that are left do you think blows the most? And by blow, I mean is less good because these are all immaculate, and we've already discussed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
I'm kind of up in the air between I Want to Wear the Jacket, Nicky Nacky Knocky New, and Henry's Dance. All 3 of those are kind of weak.
Okay. Let me clear the air. Let me clear this up for you immediately, because I'm in the same camp about one of these. It's exactly what I was thinking. I want to wear that jacket.
Okay.
I think that should be the lowest.
I'm actually in the boat of Nicky Nacky Knocky New, so I think we'll bring these 2 up right now.
Okay, that's I like that. I like that.
I Wear the Jacket is very on the nose. It's an obvious reference to craving popularity and fame.
Mm-hmm.
He spends the whole song, he wants to wear that jacket. He wants all the perks that come with wearing that jacket. And in the there's nuance in the way that the lyrics are kind of delivered. It's quite bold. You can kind of hear an almost ominous, foreboding tone like behind the delivery of the lyrics. You can kind of hear his like hubris. And how he's sort of like falling into the trap of like wanting this thing that ultimately won't bring him fulfillment. And then when the song ends, you're left kind of feeling like he's about to get what he wants and subsequently lose, what he truly treasured most, his soul. There's a lot of subtlety in play there, and I think that's really cool. Instrumentally, I think it's fun too. It's always fun when we get the pirate guy coming in. He just brings a fun vocal tinge to the tracks. Yeah.
Speaking of the instrumentals, I think that the song yet again brings contrast to the table. You've got these really really smooth low notes and the I wanna wear the jacket, I wanna wear the jacket, and you got like the very high raspier voice of Captain Feathersword. Next to it, comparing back and forth, they're both really great in their own ways at a great contrast. You also got these incredibly well put together ooh-ahs, yet again showing their great tone, their tone quality as a group. It's really smooth. It's really groovy. In the second half of the track, we get some building with the guitar having these absolutely fucking wild riffs that it starts doing in the background. Like, bravo. And I just think overall the track just creates a really fun and jovial atmosphere. You can't help but sing along to. By the end of it, I was just like, I wanna wear that jacket. Oh, because I want to be popular. Everyone wants to be popular. That's why we're making this fucking channel. That's all we want to do is be popular. Wiggles.
That's not at all why we made the channel, but sure. If that is why we made the channel, we are failing miserably.
Don't worry, it's just what keeps me up at night. So my biggest gripe with this song, right, is I think the Wiggles should have perhaps reined Captain Feathersword in a little bit here. I think perhaps they let him go a little too crazy. He gets a little unhinged here. You know, and I get that there's like some nuance to that with, you know, the craving for popularity, wanting it at all costs. But, you know, there's a very fun, jovial vibe that happens. And by the end of the song, I'm kind of like, brother, did you wake up on the wrong side of bed today? What's going on here? You all right? Take your medicine this morning? So I don't know. He just kind of came across as a little pushy to me. And I don't really get that kind of vibe from either of the other two tracks that we mentioned here. So it's a small knock. It's perhaps an opinionated knock, but a knock nonetheless. So yeah.
Okay. Brennan?
What song are we talking about?
I want to wear the jacket.
I don't really have much to say. I'm just disinterested.
Damn.
Wow.
That's such an alpha move. Be like, I'm not interested with popularity. I'm not interested with anything that comes along with it. I just don't like it, and I think
just like
that's
eating
brave.
beef jerky and going to sleep. That's my life. I don't care. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
I respect it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fan of it. I think it's weak. I think it I don't know. Like, the background vocal stuff's kind of neat, but other than that, the track it doesn't bring like what a lot of others that I feel should be heavily above it are. So
I can agree with that. I can agree.
It's fair.
And like same thing with like Nicky Nacky Knocky New. Like Nicky Nacky Knocky New, like the vocalist, like is it the pirate? Is the pirate like coming in on this one?
Yeah. These are both the pirate tracks, yeah.
Is Sorry Again also the pirate?
I don't remember.
Let me take a look.
Is Sorry Again's also trash. Like
It is. It's Captain Feathersword yet again.
yeah, he's like Nicky Nacky Knocky New. He goes like too hard in it. Like he kind of like just starts making random noises from time to time. And
Too
it seems
pushy.
like-
Exactly.
yeah, and it seems like the instruments are like trying to carry him, but he's like doing everything in his path to like derail the track. And same thing as Sorry Again. Like Sorry Again, like
I agree.
I get like the message of the song is like, hey, like all you can do is say sorry, and that's it. That is the end of your, accountability whenever you make a mistake. But
It's such a bad message.
like just like the vocal delivery of like all three of these tracks is like cringe. And you can hear like the instrumentals, like the backgrounds, like the rest of the Wiggles are like, we need to start plugging holes in the ship. Like the ship is sinking. Like we're gonna do what I can to make sure we can get the port.
Captain Feathersword's ship.
Yeah, he is.
Now I'm wondering
he is
why we
aiming
didn't
the
bring these
head.
up earlier on in the review for being so harsh about these tracks.
Because these are actually like developed tracks. Like
I agree.
most of the stuff we've done before. All right, which I'm still in massive disagreement for, Big Red Car and Do the Twist, but everything before this was like either really short or like really one note or had like something else dragging it down even further. While at least in these three tracks, like you can feel the rest of the band like putting like Captain What's His Face like on their back, like trying to carry him to the finish line. So, but I think like compared to what we've tabled, and I think compared to the other tracks we haven't talked about, these songs are just inferior.
I can agree.
Yeah. I think
I can definitely agree.
Purely the instrumental quality of these tracks are pretty great, pretty solid, and perhaps it is in an effort to cover up Captain Feathersword's edginess. But I think that the only one I could see, because you brought up Tyler, why didn't we put these lower? The only one I could see perhaps sliding down the list is Sorry Again, and perhaps I'm seeing this too cursory here, but if I can be frank, if we're just apologizing, like, because this album's a lot about contrast, right? You know, song to song, within the songs. Before it on the album, we have Brown Girl in the Ring. We all love empowerment, specifically of women. So I think that the fact that we're immediately going into a track that's like, sorry, whoops, our bad. I think that feels a little, you know, like a bit of a heel turn. And I think they're like a little nervous for like how, you know, like, cause it's a bold thing to come out. It's 2006. Go off, Kings.
Or in the 90s, especially. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Like, you, at any time, really. I mean, like, just even in 2023, don't shy away from women empowerment. Let it rise, let it shine. And then there's like, sorry, my bad.
It's ironic because the song is like, obviously, it's about forgiveness, apologetic and stuff. I really interpret it as the placement on the album. It's very much like an anti-cancel culture song. Of like, you know, even though we all make mistakes, they kind of realize, like, as a band, even though every member of the band makes mistakes, they will always forgive each other and lift each other up. And they would never like turn on each other just because someone made a mistake. So I think it's very much like if you're willing to make changes and work toward bettering yourself, then you deserve a second chance. And just like in the current like social climate, maybe this isn't what it was originally intended for. This is just my interpretation based on the current social climate where like every band member ever just fucking beats kids and is awful or something, and they all get kicked out. And sometimes without even any evidence supporting it. Sometimes people are just like, hey, I think you did this, and then they get booted, and then you find out later on that they didn't do anything, and like it's just it's sketchy. And my interpretation of this is like, you know, sometimes we do bad things, but you know, certain things are like kind of unforgivable, but like within reason, you know, don't turn on each other. Give each other room to change and forgive each other. Grow as people. That's how I interpret it. But I can understand on the surface how it comes off as bad because of the placement on the album.
I also think, you know, if you looked at like the demographic of like who's listening to this album, I think it'll naturally lean a little more towards the younger audience for those cursory, you know, views. Okay. And if that's the case, I'd be curious to actually do that research, but simply don't have the time. But, you know, I think that most younger audience or smooth brain individuals won't understand it to that level, Tyler. And I appreciate that that's there. And I appreciate the you know, the negating of cancer culture, because I agree with what you said. But I worry that most people will see it as like a heel turn to the previous track, just in general, like as like the easier, you know, vision to see. So I think we should put it lower. I think we should keep it low. I would even suggest putting it below Big Red Car, simply for the cultural impact of Big Red Car.
I can agree with that.
I just slide it right below that, and we leave it there, because I you know, as much as I hate, you know, changing things we've placed before, but it just feels like the right thing to do here.
That's fair. No, I will always be in favor of moving Big Red Car up because I am afraid of the masses. So like if we want to put all three of these below Big Red Car, I am okay with that because I don't want to make people angry.
Listen. We have to learn from what's in front of us. Don't say sorry again. All right?
You're right.
So we're going to put Sorry Again below Big Red Car. We're going to put Big Red Car there. Let's move on. Yep. Because I do think that the instrumentation from Big Red Car forward, as well as some of the messages brought forth, are just really impactful and really well developed. So we continue onwards. So we left off with I Want to Wear the Jacket.
Yes. Versus Nicky Nacky Knocky New. Now, how do we want these ordered? Because I do think these are next, for sure.
I agree. Brennan, how did you feel about Nicky Nacky New? Nicky Nacky Knocky New. Apologies. Sorry again.
That's all right.
I'd personally put it below I Want to Wear the Jacket.
Yeah, I can agree with that because I feel like I Want to Wear the Jacket. The band is doing a lot more to help out our unfortunate pirate, so I can agree with that take.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's tough because I think the bass line is really strong in Nicky Nacky Knocky Noo. It really does kind of like define the track in a lot of ways. You also have the presence of Vibra again, which I think is really great. And the little dancing jovial thing that we had in the previous Captain Feathersword track is present here. And I think those horns are just so precise and pristine that come in at the end of each verse. It's very nice. But I think I do agree overall. I think the instrumentation around Captain Feathersword and I Want to Wear the Jacket, as well as the I think I like. Look, I'm a weak man. I'm a human. I like popularity, and so I Want to Wear a Jacket better, just a little bit.
That's fair. So we have 4 more before we get to the top part.
Okay.
I think For Presence I'm gonna nominate to be next. Because I think that the other ones all have like Dorothy's Dance Party, Henry's Dance vibes. Fun shit.
Mm-hmm.
Here We Go, Dorothy ties the whole album together. I think it's very powerful stuff. So I think like the outlier is the For Presence.
As much as it hurts, I think I can agree. It's another track. I mean, like I mentioned it before a little bit. You know, the Latin, the use of Latin is just a really great, flexing of knowledge upon us. I really note I put in for this track is I truly wasn't expecting a song like this to show up on an album with Latin vibra this great choir singing in a beautiful tone, as I mentioned before. But something that I was really interesting about this track is that they start talking about like this book that no one can read, like this blanket without any threads, and I was just thinking like, you're singing in Latin. Where is this book from? What language don't you know? But then they bring it all together by the end, and like it's like they start explaining exactly like what like maybe things aren't always as they seem, and it all makes sense.
Exactly, it's a song that talks about like the spread of misinformation, half truths. Sometimes you gotta do your research. You gotta look into things a little bit before you can pass judgment and say something is or isn't what you think it is. You need to get the full story before you can pass judgment on something. And I think it's a really important message for sure, especially in today's age with the internet and everything, for sure. So I do like the song, but I do think that the other 3 are just better songs.
I would probably come back to the others more. Yeah, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're so fun.
I think the other outlier, technically, which I do think this one should be above For Presence, but I think that maybe next should be Henry's Dance. While I have recently been getting into Naruto, I think it is kind of wild that they have a song about opening the 8 gates of chakra in this thing. I get it's about the full human experience, so like I get that. It's cool. It's very much like an instructive song about like this is how you open the 8 gates and become one with your chi.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. Like, and they even reference like in the like, because like he's an octopus, right? 8 arms are the 8 gates, and they even reference like with the way that the song is structured, they repeat the word octopus 8 times per chorus. They just keep it's all there. All the layers are there.
All the pieces, yeah.
I'm not a ninja, so I can't do it. But the fact that they were able to crack that code is very impressive.
It is. Honestly, I love it. I think it's so unexpected. In an album where there are truly just like fully unexpected things, that who could have predicted this to be where they go? As far as the instrumentation goes for it, I think this song it's just a fucking ripper. It's why it was like kind of in contention for a table for me. I mean, this beat just goes fucking crazy, dog. Like I'm losing my mind to this track. I think the call and response with Henry is really nice. There's the contrast of like the clean vocals to the octopus being like, "Woo!" And I fucking love that. I think the guitar here is just like so like legitimately like tasty. It is just going absolutely ballistic. The guitar run that goes from one side of the headphones to the other. I know, Brandon, you mentioned that you can only hear out of one headphone, so perhaps you missed this detail. So I'll explain it to you in vivid detail. So like in the verses, the it goes from like one headphone to the other and then back. It's like they're like dancing around you. These like tunes are coming back and forth in your head. It's just a really awesome use of like post production. And I really appreciate that. The oohs and the backing are just so smooth. Yet another great presentation of their tone quality, their tone control, just showing off their pure wizardry of vocal talent. And then there's a great fucking punch at the end. You just fucking sends it home. And an album where there's some fade outs that I'm not a big fan of. This one really ends it strong. So this is like personally quite the high contender for me. Not only because they venture into this really awesome undertone of Naruto. I mean, who doesn't fucking love Naruto? All over my wall. You just can't see it over there. But I personally love Henry's Dance a lot.
Yeah.
Brandon, how do you feel about Henry's Dance?
It's all right. I mean, the instrumentals do pop off, but I don't know. It's all right.
I'm glad you could see the instrumentation presence. I personally think it's one of the best on the album. In my personal opinion, I think they really let themselves go a little crazy with this one.
Oh yeah.
Instrumentation wise, so I think it's a lot of fun. Tyler, you did mention before that you wanted "Here We Go, Dorothy" to be very high. Are we at a point now where you feel as though it's appropriate to dissect this track? I've been waiting in anticipation.
Yeah, I think we could probably talk about it now.
Okay. Because I'm prepped. I'm ready.
No, actually, well, let's talk about Dorothy's Dance Party first, because I think that does also directly tie into it. It's a Dorothy song.
Obviously. Good point.
But we can talk about these two right in a row, because we have talked about all of the other, like, precedents leading up to why Here We Go, Dorothy is good. So Dorothy's Dance Party. Obviously, we got ABBA vibes. Who doesn't love that?
Absolutely.
It's a great time. And again, we established this before in the other review, that Dorothy is an acronym for Dying of Ritalin Overdose Traumatizes Healthy Youths. It's a song about drug abuse. And, we knew we were working into this. Five Little Joeys, we've already talked about this. And the song is about how drug use is running rampant throughout the country and affecting the youth. And everyone is invited, quote unquote, referencing that no kid is safe from this epidemic. Any one of them could show up to the dance party at any time if we do not stay vigilant. So it's a very fun song intentionally because it's trying to mask like a dark message, right? It's referencing how people are getting lured in to, like, do drugs, and then you'll be at the party having a good time, and then you die. So they even use the line like she's singing "Rompa Bompa Chomp" at the door as a way of saying, like, there's going to be warning signs when you show up to that party. That people are gonna come up to you and be like "Rompa Bompa Chomp," and you're gonna be like, that seems odd. I don't know if I should trust that, but they look like they're having a great time in there, and you go in anyway. So like, you have to learn to recognize the signs, take them seriously. It's a very important song. Now, as we go into Here We Go, Dorothy. This is another song about the dangers of drug use. And while Dorothy's Dance Party was a very fun song with the implications like foreshadowed, this track is the payoff to that, to what was started in that song. This track also ties in what was talked about in Five Little Joeys, the problem with Big Pharma, as the doctor is no help at all in this story either. And the song can be tied into Joni with One Hammer, because that song is about someone falling to drug addiction. Just a lot of payoff for other songs in the album. Everything really kind of coming to fruition, tying all of those loosely related drug stories together and making them one cohesive package. I think it really heightens and elevates all of those other tracks because this song is on the album. So that's why I want to give it the credit it deserves. It's really just a masterful interwoven tale that's all capped off with Here We Go, Dorothy. So,
wow. If you could just like pass the baton to me real quick? Because I'd love to pick up on something that I think
Absolutely.
I think is
Here. I'm shoving it in your throat.
okay. So with Here We Go Dorothy, right? Instrumentally, what's interesting about it is we've come so far on the album. We've talked through so many different topics. We've talked through, done so many great instrumental different things, that so many risky things, Here we are with just a strong bass line that just pushes through the entire track. One of the greatest claves performances I've ever seen. The time is kept perfectly. And you know what I'm thinking? Now that you bring up these parallels, this is the ticking of time that we have left. It's just going on and on until the song ends.
That's deep. I didn't even catch that, but I think
I also think something really cool is that this album, this track, as I mentioned before, does not have a lot of instrumentation in it compared to previous tracks, like very fun dance tracks, like we said before this. I think that it's so vulnerable. It's so hard to perform music that is like not accompanied by like diverse instrumental. You're left vulnerable. You're left like all flaws are bare. Anything that we've experienced so far on the album is let bare. There's nothing to protect you here. It is just you performing with your closest loved ones as time ticks onward. And I think that is just such an awesome message. Wow. Yeah, you're right. I'm so glad we saved this. The impact that just had, that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a fucking complicated and deep album.
Thank you, Wiggles.
Now we're gonna have to rank these now.
Okay. Yeah.
In the order that we think they deserve to be in. Brendan, I would like you to just give out your raw opinion of how you would like these 4 songs to be ordered.
What songs are they again? What's the full list?
4 Presents, Henry's Dance, Here We Go Dorothy, Dorothy's Dance Party.
I'd put 4 Presents at the bottom. I'd put Henry's Dance just above that. Then I'd put Here We Go Dorothy and Dorothy's Dance Party at the top.
I agree with the bottom 2. I personally would flip Here We Go Dorothy and Dorothy's Dance Party, which would make Kyle the tiebreaker.
See, I would slightly change it. I would have, as much as it pains me, 4 Presents at the bottom, even though I think it is really great and everything that brings to the table. Then right above that, I would put Dorothy's Dance Party. Because even though it is a great track, give me those ABBA vibes, those cowbell really fucking hits. I think Henry's Dance does a little bit more instrumentally for me overall, as I mentioned before. So I put that just above it, and then above that all, with its incredible tying together of the album, I put Here We Go Dorothy. So I believe what that does is the only difference from mine would be the swapping of Henry's Dance and Dorothy's Dance Party. Am I correct in saying that?
Which I would vote against because I sided with Brennan. So I believe that would make the order 4 Presents, Henry's Dance, Dorothy's Dance Party, and then Here We Go Dorothy by vote.
I'm not too perturbed by that. It is only one switch from mine personally. And I think they're both very groovy. As you saw, I was dancing to Dorothy's Dance Party because everybody's there. It's just so jovial and fun. So,
yeah. Let's do drugs.
Okay.
All right, so we're finally on to the table top 5.
We made it.
Now, Brennan, I'm gonna pass this off to you first because you tabled Die Dicky Do Dumb. So I would like you to go off about that one.
Go nuts.
Let us know what's good about it.
Well, obviously, like as stated before, like it has a sick guitar lick to open it, and then like everything just comes to life after that. You have like a nice little. It's almost like not quite like a walking bass, but it's like an active bass.
Mm-hmm.
You have like the accordion, like I said before, giving like a Middle Europa vibe. Like a little bit like other instruments mixed in, and then of course like the vocalist himself kind of also becomes an instrument with how he's like, portraying like literally just the words of the title plus other shit. And then the song kind of like it doesn't really like fully chill, but like it knows how to kind of like back off for a bit, like in between, like after the chorus and like in between the chorus and like the next verse. I think that's pretty neat. But it's just a bundle of fun. I can't pick out a single flaw with this track. I mean, maybe you could argue that the vocals aren't really, I guess, like as thoughtful and creative as the other tracks that are around here.
Oh, I would strongly disagree about that.
I mean,
I think they're very creative. The lyrics about this one, because I know a lot of people don't even know what it means. It just sounds like gibberish, right? What it actually was they found an ancient text that was used to summon great old ones to the mortal realm. And they used that and they're like, this could be fun to mix into a song. So they just turned it into a fucking ripper with all that instrumental, all that good gravy stuff that you just talked about piled on. But the lyrics themselves translate to, roughly, this is just my translation, I'm not professional. They translate roughly to, "O great beasts of the ethereal plane, please heed my call. I call upon thee in this great time of need. We offer you a blood sacrifice upon this pyre of burning goat flesh as recompense of our transgressions. Please accept this as a humble offering and bring swift burning judgment upon the lands of our enemies. May you carry their souls into the scorching brines of Hades. We long for freedom from their oppression and the beauteous chorus of their deathly screams and lamentations. Take not only the men but the women and children. Let the genocide of their people bring peace to this world. May we never forget your immaculate blessings of death. Hail to Roth Ka'ul, great bringer of dark demise."
Listen.
And the fact they managed to turn that into a song that has slappy instrumentals, that's just... Go them. That's impressive.
People thought Fall Out Boy's new shit had like some good layers. Come on, they ain't doing this. Come on.
No one's talking about the great old ones in their tracks.
They aren't
calling for open genocide in order to bring the old ones back to the mortal realm.
And I mean, if we're like, before in previous tracks, we talked about, highlighting the pains of the Holocaust. And while we're, here in this album, why not talk about, we'll go farther back. We go farther back to even really bad transgressions, Yeah. And we're just going really far back. And
the ones that we've talked about the one that time will never forget, and then they talk about one that time has forgotten.
Contrast, exactly like I said from the beginning. This album just keeps pumping it in you.
Exactly.
And it's very present here. Thank you for reciting all of it. I just simply I ran out of strength.
Tens of hours of research went into translating that. So
I got the beginnings of it. I was like, holy shit, is this about the old ones? And then I'm so glad you really brought it home.
I'm so glad you're able to translate Sanskrit.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough task.
I have a literal Rosetta Stone in my home that I use.
As one does.
As one everyone has. Just
not Rosetta Stone, the app,
Rosetta
like
Stone.
the Rosetta Stone.
Oh, damn. But, all right, so as far as the instrumentals go with Dicky Do Dum, I think that, obviously, as you said, Brennan, the instrumentals are very upbeat. I think that, the fact that there's like this very whimsical nature of the whole track, very fun reflection of the old times, the old ones. I think it's just really fun, reimagining, if you will. I think the flute to contrast the men's lower vocals is really fun. I think it's another great contrast, even though this track already does so much. The instrumentals just also keep layering as the song goes on. You get this just great performance of just fun energy. And if I may, in the past I did mention Carmina Burana by Carl Orff, the great piece that he wrote. If you weren't aware, it's the song that starts with like the boom, boom, boom. That's how this whole thing starts. That's like the iconic thing. But in Act 2, we get to Into Berna. And this piece specifically is talking about a group of men in a tavern celebrating together. And I think that this track is really emulating Carl Orff's great, much less popular second act of his piece, Carmina Burana here. And I will say this piece is quite difficult to perform. It's got a lot of staccato notes, as you can probably see. I got a lot of notes in there as well. But it was very difficult to perform. And I think that this piece, yet again, brings this incredible tone quality that is definitely channeling the inspiration of Into Berna by Carl Orff's Carmina Burana. So I think that, it's just so impressive to me. I think there's just so many layers to this track. And I'm so glad that you tabled it. It was immediately one of the two that I thought of. I'm going to
go ahead and say it. I think this should be number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3.
What's number 2 and what's number
Number
1?
2 is my new shoes.
Okay. All right.
No.
Listen.
Number
This
2 is
song-
my new shoes.
This song puts my new shoes to shame.
No.
Can we? No. Okay, guys. All right, relax.
I will throw
Okay.
hands.
I understand you want to throw hands. Let's slide it to later. Well, we all are in agreement that this will be in top 3.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
I'm okay with that.
It will be
so
in top 3.
let's go ahead and move on to the songs that are going to be 4th and 5th here, which are Wags the Dog
And do the
and Do the Flap.
Can I talk
Tyler.
about Wags the Dog a little bit?
Absolutely. I was
Because
just about to
I
ask.
did kind of coerce you into doing that
you
one. First of all, I actually dabbled into the song structure here a little bit. I know that's not my job.
Okay.
But I had
appreciate
to,
it.
right? Like
appreciate
the
it.
falsetto to start off this song is fucking angelic, man.
It's so good.
It's angelic. I was not prepared. It changed my life. I really think it did. The song is clearly a metaphor for having crippling anxiety. The line's about being kept up all night by the constant barking. It's obviously a direct metaphor to when your constant, never-ending, anxious thoughts kind of preventing you from getting sleep. I think we've all kind of experienced that in different degrees throughout life, It also touches briefly on the dangers of stress eating with the line about how he eats so much his tummy drags, which is a problem that
That's
some
scary.
people suffer from. Not me, but some people. And there's also, going back into the actual song structure for a minute, there's some baritone vocals that go into falsetto vocals that go into like super falsetto vocals. And it just really shows off the dynamic range of the Wiggles, man. I mean, they really just went all out on the vocals here on this track. Like, deep meaning aside, just like, it's a well-structured track. It's real fucking good. It's impressive. My voice can't do any of those things, and they can do all of those things. I'd like to believe the last part wasn't even pitch shifted. I like to think that they can just do that.
I don't believe it was from just, as this is like, I felt as though it was my duty to come into this with like the musical breakdown of these tracks. I really poured over this track many times when I got here, and it's earlier. So, this took a while. I mean, 26 songs, come on. But I poured over these lyrics and these songs, and specifically this song. And I think this is just pure talent, at raw talent. They're singing these very low notes, these very high falsetto notes back and forth, possibly the truest form of contrast that we get in the whole album here. You really do have these incredible contrasting like high notes to low notes. You've got the callback to the primal nature of the dog, like we were talking about Return to Cow before. Here we have these people singing next to this dog barking and joining in as well. I just think, between the contrast, between the musical performance, didn't even mention the guitar riff is so catchy in this. It's just so
It does
fun.
slap.
It's just your
It
bounce
is very
around. It
good.
slaps very hard. It's so catchy. I love it so much. There's like these awesome descending parts at the end each verse that are so well performed as well. It's great in building, it's great in contrast, it's great in vocal performance, it's great in instrumentals. It's just what does it do wrong? What does it do wrong, really? And highlights a great message at the same all at the same time. I'm in awe, really, at Wags.
Yeah. Brennan, what do you think about Wags?
Man, the repetition, holy shit. Literally the second half of the song entirely is just the same thing, just given to you in different ways, I guess. To me, that it kind of holds the track back a little bit, but that's literally my biggest gripe.
How would you compare it to Do the Flap? Do you have any gripes with Do the Flap?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, I don't really have any complaints with Do the Flap, but like Wags the Dog is literally, them just repeating the same line for like a minute and a half. It was like the whole second half of the song. So I'd probably put Wags the Dog beneath Do the Flap just for that reason.
I can see where you're coming from, and if I may, I table Do the Flap. I'd love to now jump into Do the Flap a tad. So you're starting off with the drum. The drum's just fucking ripping in this track. It just fucking immediately. It's like, and I'm like, whoa, we're in for a treat here. It is also a great contrast to the previous very introspective I'm a Cow, with this very upbeat, fast tempo track. And we're just dancing. We're just dancing right away. We're just moving. Another song with great fucking contrast. Maybe not as great as Wags the Dog, but you've got this like he even sings like the high, we're going low, and like when he sings those, the high vocals come in again that we heard from Wags the Dog, and then the very low vocals that we heard in Wags the Dog coming together, and then as they come together after this call and response bit, he's like, we're doing the flap, and then there's like the harmonized high and low doing the flap to respond. It's like he brings out the opposite sides and brings them together by the end of the verse. And then what do? Holy shit, we key change. That's awesome. It's not something we really get anywhere else in this album. We get a fucking key change. We keep fucking moving. And I just think that the way that this song keeps building with like 2 key changes, it's very, from a music writing standpoint, I think we're really hitting some new highs, if you will. No pun intended there. But yeah, no, I think that, he even at the end is checking in with the whole crew. Like, they're all flapping, they're all dancing. He starts asking, Captain Feathersword, how you doing over there? And he's calling response again. They're all just doing the flap together. And it's just awesome that he's like wants to check in on everybody while also dancing, while also doing this great instrumental musical performance. Also, the trumpet at the end is just pushing the boundaries of their instrument. I don't know who the trumpet player was here, but I think hopefully the Wiggles at some point released the name of that trumpet player, because truly just the evolution of the trumpet instrumental playing just throughout time. So I just think this track is incredible. It's why I was like my first inkling of tabling.
It's a good song. It is a very good song. And I agree with everything that you said. I think instrumentally it brings a lot to the table. There's a lot of like depth in the way the song is structured, for sure. Lyrically, I don't know if you knew this, but FLAP is actually an acronym.
Okay.
It's stands for The Fallen's Laborious Acts of Penitence.
Oh, okay.
We're all imperfect and we all make mistakes, but if we can admit that we're flawed and work towards bettering ourselves, we can become better people. And this kind of ties into that other song that was kind of like the anti-cancel culture, like the apology song, whatever. This is kind of that, just like on a better level, a more nuanced level, I think. And this song just kind of triumphantly proclaims that we can become better through the sheer act of will to do so. Like, if you believe that you can be better and you really put your mind to it, then like you can do it. Like, you don't have to be a piece of shit forever. Do the flap. Be a productive member of society. Do the flap. It's powerful stuff.
It is. And honestly, in an album full of contrast, you've got 2 songs prior to that. This is track 10. Track 7 was Sorry Again, another track that has the same message. But I think perhaps it was on purpose where they placed this track. You've got it coming up after Brown Girl in the Ring, which we'll get to soon. And it just feels a bit like a heel turn, as I said before. Then they come along after this really great introspective primal return to Cow. You've got Do the Flap, where you've got an even better, more nuanced way. They've learned. They've had an introspective moment returning to Cow. They now realize they're what they've done wrong. They've done the penance of becoming Cow again, and now they're doing the flap. They've learned to say sorry in a better way. There's more than just one way to say sorry.
Yeah, they're saying sorry, and then there's actually like atoning for your mistakes. There's a difference,
Exactly.
and this song addresses that specifically.
Exactly. You know what? Between Brennan, talking about how the instrumentals bring more here, and you think it has a little bit of an edge versus, this new look I have on this album, which I love that we can find so much in this album through our own listenings, and then when we come together and talk about it together, we can like really connect the pieces in a conversation. Yeah. And we do highly recommend that anyone watching this also like brings together your loved ones, come together as one, listen to the Wiggles discography together. I think that it's like a really great learning experience, a great just family bonding experience, a great growth experience for you as a person. It's just really go for it.
The level of depth that you can interpret these songs, all the different things you can take away from it, no matter your age, it's really cool. No other band could ever hope to achieve this kind of stuff. The Wiggles really are just better than everyone, in every possible facet, and that's why they've lasted as long as they have, and have just become so ingrained in the history of time, and it's why so many people are so passionate about them.
Yeah.
But I do think, like, so I will agree. I do think "Do the Flap" is above "Wags the Dog" objectively. After we talk about that, I will not yield on "My New Shoes" though.
Okay, it's time. You know, I tried to bring down the tension prior. Go ahead and tell me what your opinion is on "My New Shoes."
"My New Shoes" is a fucking ripper. Did you guys even listen to it? It rips so hard. The song is about getting new shoes. I love it. It's so good. I never... Let me tell you, whenever I get a new pair of shoes every like 5 to 10 years, whenever I'm rocking a new pair of Vans, I feel so clean and fresh and powerful. I could go and rob a bank with nothing but a smile if I wanted to. That's how fucking good I feel with a new pair of shoes. And this song encapsulates that perfectly. The man is walking down the street with his new pair of shoes, and he is feeling himself. And it's fucking great. The instrumentals are incredible. It's epic. It's life-changing. The way they end the album with like the silhouette, it's perfect. It's fucking perfect. It is the greatest song ever written in the history of time. No song on this album has more depth and nuance than "My New Shoes." Because every single person who has ever owned shoes can understand what it is like when you get a new pair of kicks and you feel untouchable. When I get new shoes, there is a barrier of just thick, viscous sexual energy that radiates around my body. Women within miles can't even look at me because they will, out of fear of being turned on. That is the power that comes with getting new shoes. This song really just preaches the truth.
Wow. I wasn't prepared. You see, I think I made a mistake. I sat here. We've gone through an album. This is the 26th song on this album. I'm sitting here. I'm poring over my notes yesterday, and I'm just like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. Where is it at? I'm like searching. I'm referencing past songs on the album. I'm like, looking through texts. I'm looking through Carmina Burana. I'm trying to find some kind of thing that it could possibly be parallel to. And I couldn't find anything. And it's because I wasn't smooth enough.
Yeah.
I didn't truly understand that they got new shoes.
It's really telling. Like it's again part of the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
We can interpret all of this very like deep and esoteric shit from like all of these other songs, but at the end of the day, what is more human of an experience than getting a new pair of shoes and just feeling yourself? Absolutely. And that's why they were like, we're just gonna write a song about that. Because that is part of the human experience. We've touched on some dark stuff. We've touched on some very crazy shit. Yeah. Let's end the album on a good note. Let's just talk about our favorite part of being alive. Our favorite part of the human experience.
Wow.
Wearing new shoes.
Yeah. And I mean, I topped this whole 2-hour-long episode off by saying that I really enjoyed the fact that this album dives into contrast. And here we are, after an album of just giving you everything you could ever possibly imagine, even some things you can't imagine they'd even talk about. Here we are, contrasted with such a simple, empowering moment of getting new shoes.
Exactly. The simplicity is the complexity.
It is. I mentioned that before in other tracks.
It's the perfect
and here it is.
Album ender. I rest my case.
Wow.
The only reason that we cannot put this at number 1 is because we are white men and we are obligated to put the song about black female women empowerment at the top because we are obligated to by law of just we're decent human beings and we respect women.
I agree. So I think that that places the final 3 for me. I mean,
Are you on my side? Are you putting new shoes at 2?
I am 100% on your side. I think that it just purely represents the contrast of the album, which I think is the core of the album. I think is the returning theme of the whole album, and that this album ender just gives us the most simplistic version of it to round off such a complex album is contrast in itself. I love that.
I have won the day, and I am happy. Fuck you, Brennan.
Beautiful.
You have lost.
And isn't it beautiful that this whole time we've been talking about how like you've been doing these deep dives, I've been doing these musical breakdowns, Brennan listens to the songs, and here we are, and you have found the most simplistic way of viewing this track that has unlocked the most complex angle of the whole album. What an incredible review this has been, boys. I am moved.
2 hours of our lives well spent. Hopefully 2 hours of your lives
Absolutely.
well spent as well. If you managed to get through this whole thing, which if you did, you should let us know in the comments below because I won't believe you. We're going to recap, and then we're going to get out of here. Brennan's ready for bed.
Yeah.
I'm ready for bed.
I'm also ready for bed. Number 23, we have Our Boat is Rockin' on the Sea. 22, Sanctissima. 21, I'm a Cow. 20, Hat on My Head. 19, Georgia's Song. 18, Puffer Billies. 17, I'm a Dancer. 16, Five Little Joeys. 15, Joni Versus One Hammer. 14, Can You Point. 13, Sorry Again. 12, Big Red Car. 11, Nicky Nacky New. 10, I Want to Wear the Jacket. 9, For Presents. 8, Henry's Dance. 7, Dorothy's Dance Party. 6, Here We Go Dorothy. 5, Wags the Dog. 4, Do the Flap. 3, Die Dicky Do Dum. 2, My New Shoes. And number 1 is Brown Girl in the Ring. Congratulations, we finally done it. Jesus Christ, that took forever, but we did what the people wanted.
It was needed.
Honestly, clocking this in at under 2 hours.
Impressive.
Impressive, honestly. It was 26 songs. You couldn't ask for a shorter episode if you wanted. We hope you enjoyed at home. Please give this video a like if you liked it, because that really helps out a lot. And let us know how you would rank these songs, because we all know that you love this album because you all fucking asked for it. So let us know what your rankings are in the comments below. And again, let us know if you watched this whole thing. I won't believe you. I don't think a single person will make it through. But if you did, I will give you a big thumbs up.
Let this be the release that gets us to 500.
You should give this video a thumbs up too. Give it a like if you liked it. I already said it, but I'm going to say it again. You should do that. Follow us on socials. We have those. I won't tell you what they are. They're in the description. Go Wiggles.
Go Wiggles.
Don't ask us to do this for at least another 2 years. We have been the Talks a Lot Boys, and we will talk a whole lot more next time. We'll see you later.